In a world where the plumes are hazardous, 4 men rise above the clouds to bring you the latest news and innovations from the vaping world. From the highest horse, Understudy 77, the random banana boat in the Gulf, Mast Blast 09. With a beard too fierce for human eyes, Fubaka. And with a passion to abolish sleeves, the angstful vapor.
Hitler did nothing.
Tonight, on Plumes of Hazard.
What's up, everybody?
Yeah, I love the Hitler line slip in there. That's good.
Yeah, that's great. How you guys doing?
Fucking sweet tea.
Doing all right. So you may have noticed something a little bit different about the intro of the show. And is everybody up?
Yeah, we're up.
All right, good.
I think so.
I'm not seeing Mr. Mast yet.
Yeah, my camera's up.
Not now.
All right. So in order to pay for all this cool stuff we've got going on, we kind of had to do some shopping and selling.
It makes for a good shield while I eat my chips.
You'll notice we have a wonderful sponsor set now.
Uh-huh.
We urge you guys to check them out.
And I wanted to give a big shout out to our new voice guy, username Daching.
Daching.
His name Daching. Thanks again for doing that for us. We really appreciate it.
And then, if you guys notice, we have a new site.
Mm-hmm.
A whole bunch of stuff. I want to give a big thanks to El Lou for doing that for us.
Lou. No, we had him put his email down there in the bottom corner too. If you wanted to have him look at your stuff and do something magical like he did with ours.
Yeah, that's right. We changed the website on y'all fools. Deal with it.
Twice now. We changed the website twice now.
Mm-hmm. Once was a big change. This one's more just cleaning up, I think.
I agree.
Yep.
So should we jump into the news?
I think we probably should jump into the news.
Yeah. Let's see. Actually,
All these colors are wigging my eyes out.
Yeah, it kind of is.
These are paid for. What do you want?
All right.
Yeah, so a few things. DB Liquids is going to be at the Henley Vaporium this week, so what up? Can you see my fist? Yeah, you can see my fist. What else? I ordered a Stellar clone over the weekend on eBay. I don't know when that's going to show up, but hopefully before the next show so I can talk about it. Yep.
Are you going to have to drop the sponsors for a minute to show off your other
You
thing?
should be able to show everybody his shirt. I don't know if
yeah.
sponsors.
That thing. Right. All right.
No, he can just show his shirt later.
True.
Check chat, fools.
Mm-hmm. Hello.
Hi.
No, before that, you idiots. How you connect to this shit? I can't connect.
Oh, the new chat. Same way
Yes.
connected to the old one. It's just a different server. You'll also notice that we switched IRC servers.
So do you
Well,
have
you
to
might
add
have-
the server,
so
or
we're
is it
still-
already in there? Gotcha.
That's pretty transparent to the users. We did need to swap out servers in order to make some of these better plugins work a little bit more smoothly.
Yep.
But anyway, you got anything else, Ahmed?
Yeah, what fucking we're not on Freenode anymore?
Nope.
No, we're on Geek Shed now.
So you have to add the network, correct?
Yes.
This is the most productive show ever.
It really might be.
People how to join the new server.
So okay, I'll go with one. So one of the things I saw on Reddit this last week was, and it wasn't just Reddit. I saw this all over Facebook, all over just about everywhere that I follow for vaping stuff. These guys kept posting this link, and they were saying the FDA says e-cigs are less harmful than smoking. And here's a link. Here's a link for the people in the chat to one of the specific ones. And while that's true, Homeboy did say that. That's totally out of context, and was one of the very few things that he said that was positive. Almost everything else out of that man's mouth and most of the people there was extremely negative and ignorant, which is scary because they're making the rules that we're going to have to abide by. But anyway, so I didn't like that, so I wanted to make sure that that was out there. Just if you didn't watch, it was not a good meeting. Now, Senator Burr and Senator, what was the other guy's name? Alexander, maybe? I think it was. They actually had some reasonable questions, but the guy, the chairman and both the witnesses and people talking, it's difficult to not be disheartened. I still have hopes, but that's about it. The other thing that I've got is so my Plumes of Hazard Edition DZ, but I got a faulty button and my button broke, which is really sad. Womp womp. But as expected, and as
but it was such a cool button. It was so hot and black and sleek.
Mm-hmm. It was awesome until it broke.
Wait, what button broke?
My DZ's button broke.
Oh shit! I had no idea.
Yeah. Well, it just happened just a couple of days ago, and I talked to DZ about it, and he's like, "Oh, dude, just send it back. I'll fix it." And I was like, "All right, well, that's fine." And I kind of joked with him that that I was gotten addicted to the DNA, and now I didn't have one because I was gonna have to send it away to be fixed. And so that some bitch sent me his personal mod, which is the same Hammond box as the Duke is in. So it's got two 18650s in it, and it's a DNA. It works great. I freaking love it. It's got really, really cool lasering into it, too. Oh, God. I wish we didn't have so many sponsors. You could see this cool lasering.
So speaking of being at show and tell, is it time to stop the joke?
Yeah, probably.
All right, I'm dropping the overlay. This shit.
Yep.
Hey, I can show off my shirt while we're at it.
Yeah, show off the shirt because the shirt's awesome.
Check it. This was gifted to me. It was purchased with Dogecoin.
So you don't know who it did or who did it?
Oh no, I know.
Oh man, that's the wrong overlay. What the crap?
And this was courtesy of Crescent City Clouds. He said I had to wear this on the next show. I forgot to wear it last. I was supposed to wear it last week. I forgot, but I have it now. Nice. I would say what's up in chat, but I don't know how to fucking connect.
All right, much better. Yeah, me neither. I can't connect. This is crap. This must be
What up,
this must be only for the
Hashtag white people.
Because I can't connect to this. I even tried his overlay and it's still not letting me in.
Oh wait, no, now I can show off the cool lasering. Get the iron cross with a skull and an eye patch. It's got like a little actual like a not on purpose rip on the skull, so it looks freaking angry and awesome.
Looks like you.
X-Mods. It does kind of look like me. So there's that. The other thing I was going to mention
is that DZ's a fucking awesome dude.
Yeah, DZ's a freaking dude. He's just a great dude. That's all there's to it. I would have never asked him to do that, and he just freaking did it, and he wouldn't take no for an answer either, because he's freaking awesome. All right, so the other thing, as I mentioned last week, I have the Rose, which makes me very, very happy. So I've had it for a week and a half now or so. I've rebuilt it 3 times, just trying different things. I've got just about nothing else negative to say about it. It's just a fantastic Addy. I put in my notes here, the honeymoon period is over, and yet I still love it. So there's some related news in this land. John?
I'm unmuting. I was typing a message. This fucker talked about it so much he made me go drop $200 on one. And
I would have done it anyway.
I tend to agree with his opinion. I've only had it since probably Friday. And after my initial screaming and swearing and cursing with him in Hangout to get the first build up, it's absolutely fucking phenomenal. I've messed with a couple different wickings and stuff, and the flavor is significantly, but not a lot, better than the K-Fun.
It's still really just great. I mean, the little things like you said the other night, the things that I would find not perfect in my opinion are things that are not perfect in my opinion.
Yeah.
Right. They're not.
There's not much that you can say is wrong with it, and we talked to the guy who makes them, right? Mm-hmm. And I gave him my 3 criticisms of this device. I probably have less criticisms of this device than anything else. And he went down one by one and told me the specific reason why it is that way. from a makes a better vape perspective.
Yep.
So he basically shut up the high horse.
And I'm not. And I said this to you the other day, so I can say it in public. I was a little concerned when you said that you wanted to get one and you were just going to go get it. And I was like, God bless, I hope he likes it as much as I do, because I don't feel bad if he doesn't.
It's phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal.
It is. It's a good vape. Really good vape.
Agreed.
Ankush in chat says, my cock is significantly, but not a lot bigger than our plushes.
Wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you edit the new server?
I don't know what. Are you using a client, MS?
Yeah, the hex chat. What we've always used.
That's not what I use, because I'm on a Mac.
Yes, and Fubaka's in.
Mm-hmm.
That's through the website.
Yeah.
That shit is whack.
You can always go to plumesofhazard.com, man.
That's where I'm at. That shit is whack.
I'll show you guys how to do it later.
Yeah. So I think that's what I've got. Sean, you got anything else besides your new happy toy?
Not really. No.
How about you, Mess?
Nope.
Fair.
This what are we, like 13 minutes in? This might be the shortest news segment we've ever done.
Most likely.
Mm-hmm. So we've got
I had something I wanted to talk about, but I don't know.
No, dude, hit it. This is when to do it.
I don't remember.
Oh, you don't remember? It's been a.
Here, I'll take this back. Okay. See, I go from not remembering, and then this is going to turn into like a 20-minute spiel. I know it. I'd say either the first or second show, I should say, said, hey, this is going to be the year of the 26650, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. Well, I was more hinting towards the batteries, the mods, all that stuff. I'm really surprised at the atomizers that just blasted into existence the past few days, weeks. Yep. Mm-hmm. There's the Tobe version 2 that looks ugly as all get out.
Oh my God, is that thing ugly as shit?
Has anybody taken into consideration that you have one of two problems when you make a 26650 Addy? Either your chamber's going to be huge and you're not going to have any flavor at all, mm-hmm. or you're going to have to fill the whole fucking thing with stainless steel and it's going to be heavy as shit.
Yep.
Yeah, but who cares when the mod's already heavy as shit? I mean, it's going to fit right in.
26650 lighter. I'm talking, you're going to have to fill the thing with like a block of stainless steel, man.
It's going to look like this, right?
Rose deck. It's going to be like pounds.
Exactly. We picked it up at the same time. It's going to be like, this thing weighs like a damn pound, man.
So I think there's a Stellaire 26650. There's a K-Fun, right? 26650 clone. Yeah. There's a Tobe clone 26650. But
there's the Russian's got the Russian.
Yeah, the Russian big.
K-Fun and the Russian shouldn't change the flavor too much because the chamber's the same size.
Yep.
Whereas any of these drippers,
they hold up to 10 mil.
Agree.
So,
these drippers, man, that chamber, you're gonna get no flavor out of these drippers.
Right. Which is probably why that Tobe one looks so stupid, right?
Yep. Isn't the airflow gonna change when there's 10 mils of juice in there?
In the K-Fun?
Or like in the Russian 26.
I'm wondering how they're keeping all that in there, because that's a lot more pressure. A lot more pressure than.
Yeah.
It is, but not. I don't think it's enough, because the one. When I was at Blast, I saw a guy. One of the tables there had like a 3-foot long Russian that he had just chained together tanks, and it was literally like 3 feet long, and they said they had to take half of them out because of that, just the pressure, just regular gravity pressure was pushing it in and flooding it. But they only had to take half of it out. So I think probably not. 10 mil is probably not enough to really jack it up too much. I mean, there was, what was it, like the 4th or 5th show or something? I shared a link to that K-Fun adapter, right? Where you take your existing K-Fun and you thread that into a larger 26650 size deck. But everything else is basically the exact same. you've got the same chimney, same everything. It was just wide enough to take. It was basically like an adapter on the bottom and then a top cap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you have a lot of 26650 Addies coming out, and another one that I was surprised to since we're talking about clones, because all of these are clones, except is the Russian actually legit?
The Russians are Russian.
Size?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. The Russian bigs are Russian, which is kind of a
Russian
clone anyway, but
Yeah. I was really surprised to see, and not really so much surprised, but more. I guess I don't know how long it's been out, and maybe you can answer this a little bit better, Angsty. But the 4.9 was actually cloned. Down to the the lemur is it on the bottom and all that other stuff. How long has the 4.9 been out?
The 4.9 when did I see the first time I heard about it? I think was on Todd's channel, and I want to say it was like November, December.
Okay. So just under a year.
The Hangouts had one. He's had one for a while.
Yeah.
The clone, or the original?
No, the clone's still coming. I think it's like another week or something.
Yeah, but if you guys remember, the Vicious Ant Kraken, the clones came out before the actual product shipped.
Yeah. And I was really surprised to see. So that'll be interesting to see how these come up. It
kind of gives you an idea of the life cycle or the product cycle of an Addy too, right?
Oh man, it's
all of a sudden they saw the demand, and then it took them a couple of months to really get it worked out and shipping.
Well, dude, it's something like when I was more involved in the high-end mech market, it was a constant buy-sell trade game. Like you'd have to get something, you'd have to evaluate it that day if you got it at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Find out if you were going to make retail on it, or if you wanted to keep it, and probably not. And it was just constant back and forth, and evaluating each piece and knowing when to get rid of it because of how fast everything moved.
Mm-hmm. And there's something to be said about taking your time a little bit, as long as you're hush-hush enough about it during that design phase, right? Like the Rose guys, when we were talking to them, he was telling me about, they made, I think he said 7 at the very beginning, and he sent them to a few people that he knew, including I Get You 69, Scott Bonner. He just made 7, and they were expensive as hell, but he sent them out and got some feedback for it, enough to make the version 1. He shipped those, I think, in October or November or something, mostly to the UK's version of ECF. What was that called? I forgot. Anyway, a relatively big form or whatever, but he sold out of those first 100 or so, I think, and then he took feedback again, saying, okay, now that more people have had it, what'd you think about it? What could we improve on that first limited run? And then he made version 2, which is what he's making lots of. He's got like 1,400 in the wild at this point.
And then, speaking of the dude who makes the Rose, I think it's safe to say, because it's lined up, but in a very few short weeks, he's going to be coming on from the UK.
You're going to give that away now?
Oh, why not, man? Drum up. It's somebody from the UK. That's exciting, right?
It is exciting. No, I was really pleased when he said he'd come back and do it.
Out till like 3 in the morning.
Stay up way past my bedtime to be on a show with a bunch of dudes.
Exactly. He's going to stay up till like 3 in the morning to come hang out with us, and this dude works a full-time job too.
Yeah.
So it's exciting. So yeah, let's start spreading the word.
I told him I'd buy him a pot of coffee.
The other thing that I had seen, that's not necessarily so much news, but something that I've been noticing more and more is more people get mods and are trying to sell them, whether it's on the classifieds or any of the Facebook groups. Geez, people, clean your damn mod before you put pictures of it and put it up for sale. I'll give you the perfect example. The copper mods, okay? Some people like the patina, some people don't, but there's a difference between patina and schmagma all over your mod that you just took pictures of and you're putting up on any of these, you don't be upset when the price in the auction or whatever it is that you're doing ends and it's at least $100 lower than what you thought you should get because your mod looks like shit. So, clean your stuff up. If it's a nice mirror chrome finish, clean it up. Make sure that you're not sitting there and having a bunch of fingerprints on it. Make it look good. People
The same thing goes
show it
for
off.
mech, too. If you're selling a mech, I mean, clean your damn contacts, because the last thing I want is to get a pre-owned mech that's got dirty ass contacts, so it hits like a kitten, when you get it.
Or do what I did and put it up cheaper and say I don't feel like cleaning this shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if this thing broke. It was on ECR, but I don't remember if it was before last Monday or just that same night or the day after. Somebody had posted a picture of their, I believe it was a 18650 from eFest, the purple ones, and they had ripped it open and sliced it open and shown that underneath the wrapping was a Sony VTC 5 inscription, laser encrypted. VTC 4. Okay, I'm trying to find a picture. I can't find it right now, but that was, and I don't remember how it ended up. I caught the thread, in the beginning of it, and here's the picture. Actually, I will post it in chat right now.
Go ahead and screen share.
Yeah, just screen share. That way we can see it later on VOD.
Okay, let me pull it up right now. Let's do the screen sharing here. And they had ripped it open, and below it was the VTC 4. Okay. Then later on, user Omega, which is an owner of a shop, pretty much said, "People, stop ripping your eFest open. This is a lie," because he said he opened, I think it was 10, 12 of them, and they had no etchings below it whatsoever. Now, that could have been from the batch that he bought or something like that, but, don't rip your batteries open. I mean, hey, if you're going to change
possible that eFest is just using different batteries?
No, they're just rewrapping B runs, right?
And what somebody had explained was that eFest sometimes takes batteries that Sony and Panasonic and Sanyo basically discard and rewrapping them and putting their label on them. I don't know if that's the case. That's not confirmed. That's somebody just basically saying, yeah, we know that this is what they've been doing. I don't know if it's been proven or not. I'm sure somebody in the chat will know. But, no need to be pulling the wrapper off. The wrapper is there for protection, to protect you from, arcing your crap on your mod.
You can, but you can if you've watched last week's episode and they know how to rewrap them.
Yes. Yep, and you can. But as long as you have the wrapping material with you, don't rip them open and then you have them sitting around. That more, gives you more of a reason to then really watch those batteries, because you just have them without any wrapping. And really, I think the outside is fine, but that little safety cap that we showed on last episode is important to have up there. So, and without the wrapping, you can't have that up there. So, all right, that's it for me on the news.
All right, so time for guest introduction.
You got it. All right, here we go.
On the docket for tonight is Will Cohen and the Vapefest project. Their overall goal is to help armed service veterans get on the vape train and leaving the butts behind.
Thank you, freaking Ching.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, you got to unmute yourself.
I wasn't sure if you actually wanted me to or not. I was kind of waiting until somebody was like, "Hey, you should probably say something."
Hey, that's what the second? No. Yeah, it's the second week in a row. I think we've forgotten to tell the guests that.
Yeah.
As soon as we can, you can come in.
So you can mute me, but you can't unmute me.
Yes.
You got it. Well, we actually stupid. Can, but it's not. It's a lot of clicks. Anyway, what's up, Will? How you doing, man?
Nada. It's a Monday. I'm never doing anything on a Monday. Mm-hmm. Wait, it's still Monday, right?
Yes.
It is still Monday for most people, I think, unless you're in the UK. So, Will.
Yes.
We want to talk about Vapefest, and I understand you know something about Vapefest. Before we do anything else, let's get the URL up. It's vapefest.org, right?
Yes.
Perfect.
Ideally, you want to like us on Facebook. I'm really terrible with sharing everything on the actual page. We use the page as more of a this is where you should go to fill out an application thing, and less of a this is where you should go to read about what's going on. There, I just put it in the chat as well, so you can go like us there. That's where we post pictures, where we talk to people, where we answer questions. It's really, really simple. Any active duty or former service member who is a current tobacco user and is looking to try out vaping, isn't necessarily sure if it's something that's going to work for them or not. They go to our webpage. There's like 4 questions: his first name, last name, phone number, email address. They fill that out. It shoots them an automatic email with instructions and a link to the full 4-page application. They fill that all out. They provide us with proof of service. We add them into the queue, and we kind of bust through that queue as fast as we can.
So that's what you do. So who are you, and how do you fit into it?
Yeah.
I am sunshine and rainbows. How
about lollipops?
Wearing quite a nice shirt, might I add.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, they're here for St. Patrick's Day every single year, and so we go every single year. I think this year was actually the last one. It was like 10 years in a row, and we've been there all the time. Yeah,
nice.
Fuck yeah. So I'm a social worker by trade. I work in veteran services. I actually do workforce development for service members who have recently transitioned into a civilian career and are looking to find employment. I'm currently working on my master's in social work. I kind of do it. I've worked for the city for a while. And I had so many people coming to me looking for work because, you know, that's what I did. They all smoked. And so I was giving away all my old gear, and this seemed like something that needed to happen on a larger scale. And kind of the impetus for this was my little brother is in the Army right now. And he never smoked, never chewed, nothing. And he kind of picked it up as a habit right out of boot camp. And I was vaping at the time, and I'm like, hey, you got to try this. This totally works, and it's amazing. So I hooked him up with all kinds of free stuff, and I send him free juice constantly, and he was able to find an alternative in vaping.
Cool.
So that was kind of my, okay, I can do this. We can do this for everybody, and, you know, nobody was really doing it right or really at all. So I decided, you know what, I can, and we're going to be approaching our 1-year anniversary, July.
Sweet.
Congrats.
Yeah.
I was actually going to ask you, when did you first launch?
July 13th.
The more you know.
Well, if anybody is located on the West Coast, we are throwing a massive 1-year anniversary party at Lucky Deuces in Redondo Beach. We are going to have all kinds of really cool stuff we're giving away. We are currently, no promises, but we will make it happen, in talks with Harley Davidson to raffle off a motorcycle.
Oh,
Nice.
wow.
Damn.
So it's going to
That
be
is
pretty
awesome.
legit.
That's really sweet.
So you should come out for that. And
So that's how you get stuff out. You went over the application process, but like, how does it work? Like, how are you funded? You know, is it all just by donations?
We accept donations. We have currently about 2 different companies that they'll either run a coupon code on their website that's like a matching donation for us, or they'll make a flavor that's like the Vapefest flavor, and they'll use our branding, and we'll promote them. But the significant majority, by like 98% of our revenue, comes from BRV Liquids. It's the juice company that we developed to be able to provide funding. And so we take all of the revenue from our juice right here. Oh, right there.
Yeah.
And that's what we we pretty much use to purchase the kits, to pay for shipping, and that's really about it. I think our webpage is paid for through Vape. Actually, I'm pretty sure that is, and that's all the expenses. Everybody's a volunteer. Everybody, our entire board of directors is a volunteer, or are volunteers. You do not need to be a vet to go to the party. it's open to the public. It's just, you want to have fun, we're going to have food trucks and music and all kinds of really cool stuff. Convict, for the Convict hybrids, they're making 10, I think 10, yeah, one-off, like totally unique hybrids for us to raffle off as well, and we're going to try to get all kinds of other people on board. Tons of juice, tons of people. It's going to be amazing.
And where can they find details about that? Is it on the Facebook page?
It will be on the Facebook page. We're trying to wrap up details before we release the flyers. I just want to get all the information perfect. But the date's confirmed, the location's confirmed, all of that.
We got a lot of people in chat talking a lot of good things right now. So here's my question. Let's turn that into a positive force. Where do people go if they want to get some juice to help the cause?
Buy.brvliquids.com. I will write it in there. Oh, wait, I didn't hit a period. And let me answer a question for you that I saw as well. We don't do follow-up in as much as, yeah, we're going to have a TVE mod. This is a one-time offer. So they come to us, we hook them up with a starter kit and juice, and we will continue to support that product. Like, I'll answer questions, I'll offer advice and help and community, but we're not constantly sending it to them. Well, our idea was really to take individuals who are current tobacco users, who are serving or have served, and take away the upfront cost for getting into vaping, saying, you know what, you've done enough, you're busting your ass, you don't get paid shit for it, we will take care of that, that starter kit. We'll get you into it and let you try it out for free. It's not like a recurring thing. We have received over 1,400 application requests. We've sent out over 300 actual applications. The reason there's a big difference is because, I mentioned there's 2 steps to the process. A lot of people will actually request an application but won't send it back, or people will send an application and they're already vapors. So unfortunately, we don't currently have the capability to be doing that. But if there's a service member that vapes and they hit us up, we always send them juice.
Sure. So basically, it's like, okay, we'll help you get started, but if you're getting behind a max, well.
I wish I had the money to just get all of that stuff. We provide them with a 30 ml bottle, so enough to last them as a brand new vapor in a Clearo. Hopefully, at least a few weeks to a month.
At least 3 or 4 weeks, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Well, 2 or 3 weeks anyway. Depends on how much they smoked, I guess.
Yeah. But you know what? At least it's going to get them a couple weeks. We give them a list of a bunch of really cool shops, mostly shops that sell BRV. So it's kind of a really good promotional opportunity. We try to make it cyclical like that. I would love it if they all end up vaping BRV, but ultimately people kind of drift to vape what they like and not necessarily just what is cool or what is neat. So... they vape whatever they want to vape.
Is there a way that stores can contact you about carrying the juice?
Yeah.
Side, or?
Here's the really cool thing. They don't even need to contact me. If you go to brvliquids.com, there's a little wholesale tab. You click on it, it takes you to our online store. You have to create an account, and you have to put in your tax ID number. Because obviously business, we verify you're a shop. As long as you're a legitimate business, we approve your account, and you can just order on the website.
Perfect.
It's super easy.
So I want to take a second, since we're on the topic of kits that you've sent out, and I kind of want to try to hit you in the feels. You got any good stories? Any real moving return emails, stuff like that?
Dude, we get them all the time. I had a guy that served in Vietnam. He'd been a smoker for 42 years, smoked 2.5 packs a day. Now he's down to a pack a week.
Wow.
He just, on the vape that we gave him, I've had a really interesting one is we have a local guy here that had just moved. He had served in Desert Storm. We hooked him up with a kit. It was the first time he started vaping, and he actually is making his own juice company now. And he turned around and is donating like $1 a bottle for every every bottle that he sells back to us as a way of kind of giving back and giving back into it.
That's awesome.
That's super cool.
We have worked with Indigo in the past. They did make a flavor for us. Tony is just super, super busy, and he's a little bit hard to get a hold of. So, yeah. But Indigo is awesome. I love their tobaccos. The Turk is a...
Yo, the Turk. My dude found it.
It's amazing.
So, your last trip to Washington and chats with the FDA. That one just went through.
Oh, when we got the FDA to buy us drinks?
What?
Elaborate, come on. A little.
Me and a buddy of mine from Tucson went out to Vapefest in DC, and we're sitting at this little bar, and we're sitting like just in a corner, and we were wearing our BRV shirts that say "Vape for a Cause" on it, and these two women come up to us and start asking us all these questions, and eventually they're like getting really detailed about how we feel like the regulation is going to affect us, and this was before all of it came out, so we didn't know. And we're like, oh, we're really trying to be as compliant with, what they're going to expect, and we hope it doesn't really affect us and all this. So they're buying us drinks, and they're talking to us, and they're asking us all of these questions, and finally one of the women, who is sloshed, lets it slip that she's one of the people that's in charge of writing the regulation. So we kind of found out what was going to go on, and we knew absolutely every piece of it. We just didn't quite grasp how complicated it was and the whole application process. But we knew what they wanted, and we told them we gave them a lot of pointers on things that we as juice makers would like to see in the industry.
Sure. I kind of wish they'd paid attention a little bit more, honestly.
Well, they were very, very, very adamant that they didn't want to put this back into the hands of Big Tobacco. Now, they're not. It wasn't Zeller, so he's like in charge.
Yeah.
It may have come down that they were overruled, but they were very much not wanting this to be Big Tobacco.
And Ankush in chat just said we were at Vapefest, and that's true. I saw you guys at Vapefest. I don't think I got a chance to stop by the booth and talk a whole bunch.
I had no time to talk.
Busy time, man.
Yeah. Do all of those conventions are, except the one in Tucson. Oh. It was not busy.
No?
I was very, very sick actually at Vapefest. I had gotten food poisoning the day before, so I was very ill. That's why I wasn't like running around at all, because I didn't really want to get up. But I tried at one point to kill what was going on in my stomach with whiskey, and that didn't work at all. So then I switched to vodka, and that worked less good. And at that point, I was just nauseous and drunk and trying to talk to people. It was a lot of fun.
That's food poisoning is no fun, especially when you have to do things. Food poisoning, you kind of want to just curl up on a ball and die.
How many people?
Tell me what you're vaping on, dude. What's that box mod you got there?
I have a D's Nuts DNA 20 because it's kind of old. My K-Fun, and it's filled with Shore Leave. Yeah.
That's freaking sweet, man. I thought I recognized the button in the box. I was like, that looks like a DZ. That's sweet.
Have you had chances to talk to Josh before?
Josh, dude, we hang out with him at all the Tucson meets.
Yeah, that dude's solid, man.
All right, so
right now, actually.
Yeah, dude, he's cool as shit.
Knowing him, he's probably in here under some random name.
Yeah, OPV Stu 5150. Let me see. I see all these questions. Okay, so I've sent 317 kits so far. I do not know how many people have successfully switched to vaping. We always ask people to write us back, to send us pictures, and about 2% actually do. Follow-up is really, really, really tough. We try, we ask constantly. And people, and it's like this with everything in every industry. You get something kind of for free, and you're gone out the door. But we don't do it for that. if one person switched, it'd be enough. It really would be. It's not about numbers. It's about just trying with every single person that wants to, and hopefully the ones that it doesn't work for, they piff that kit to their buddy, and it works for them. So that's really that's the most important thing. We don't check income. We don't check whether or not they could have purchased it. It's literally just, do you want to? Are you a current tobacco user, and have you or do you served? Yes, I have heard from about a dozen people. There are pictures up on the Vapefest Facebook page. There are emails up on the Vapefest Facebook page. We do have people that will write to us and post on the page as well. So that's really going to be your best source of seeing that in action. And then I always post pictures of all the kits going out when I'm shipping them, so that people can kind of see, because there's not much else I can show you. I can't give out names and addresses and stuff.
Yeah.
No.
So J. Lewis CC
that would be crucifying people.
Oh, yeah. J. Lewis CC wants to know if there's a way that people can volunteer to help in more than a financial way.
Yeah, do just tell everybody. Honestly, I have a board member that does all my kit processing for me. He's a cool dude, and he's now linking me random box mods in chat. He's out of San Diego. Very nice guy. But really, all we ask is tell everybody about what we're doing. If you have a buddy that's in the service or has been, that's a smoker, and you just can't talk him into doing it, tell them to apply, man. It's 5 minutes of effort to fill out that application, and it could change their life.
Sure.
If you have a shop that sells a bunch of different lines of liquid, tell them to carry a BRV. It serves two purposes. One, it brings us in revenue. The more BRV we sell, the more money we have, the more kits we can send. Two, it helps me to develop a working relationship with a store. So when I send a kit out, I now have a shop that I'm familiar with the people that work there, and I have somewhere to refer people to. Whether or not they ever buy my product again, at least I have somebody that I know is good people that I can then send that veteran to if they need help, if they need coils. I know they're not going to get ripped off. I know they're going to get treated well, so they're more likely to be successful.
Sure. And that's something we talked about quite a bit when you're starting vaping. It's a bit of a mental leap to go from, and you don't even think about it. You drop $7 or $8 a pack of smokes, and you do that every day or twice a day or whatever. Just buying that $40 ego kit for whatever reason seems daunting, and whether or not they stay with the device kit that you send out or not, just hopefully that little push, that little push gets them into it a little bit, right?
Absolutely. It's one of those, you don't make shit for pay when you're enlisted. You get higher up in the ranks, you make okay money. Right. Not great, but
it takes
you're
decades.
Enlisted. Right, you don't make shit for money. A lot of times it's going to be, man or woman serving, they've got a family they're supporting, and so spending that in $40 is pretty conservative in a lot of shops.
Yeah,
so you walk in there, you're looking at $70 or $80 out the door with juice and everything. And you don't know if it's going to work for you. I mean, you've heard about it, but that could be all of your spending money for that paycheck.
Certainly.
And you just, for something not to know if it's going to work, then it's harder for them to do it, and so we take that piece of it away.
Sure, and that's, I've got a family member in this service, enlisted service, and so I'm very familiar with the kind of pay scales that they offer, and it may surprise people how little an E2 makes. It's awful. I mean, it's basically poverty level, man. It's pretty brutal.
No, what the worst part about it is, they take taxes out of their paycheck.
Unless you're deployed, right?
But what sense does that make? It's the government paying it and then collecting taxes back on it?
Yeah.
All the game.
Any goddamn sense. Oh, my board, my director of the board just joined the chat, so he can answer a lot of questions that I may not get to.
Was that Colin?
Somebody said, yeah, Colin.
Does he want to jump in here too, or?
I don't know. He can. Yeah,
Well,
I assume he can.
if you want to jump in, Colin, let us know in chat. We'll pull you in.
Hey, I was going to ask, and this might have been answered already, but how does the when you are deployed overseas, how does the government? I don't know if it matters between here and when you're deployed. How does the government view vaping? Do they classify it just like smoking, or?
It's kind of case by case basis.
Okay.
So it really depends on who's in charge where you're at, how they view it. There's no overarching policy yet, although they are working on it. And it will be treated like smoking is, but currently it's kind of like if your sergeant's cool with it, then you can vape. If he's not, you got to go outside. On base, they generally have to go where the smokers go, but again, if your sergeant's cool with it, they don't really care as much.
Yeah, and that's why I asked, because I have a friend in the service, and he works for a one of the notorious three-letter word agency, and at one point they would have to leave the building, go to an outside designated area in the parking lot before they could smoke and now vape. And it's kind of interesting because a new sergeant came in, and they were actually able to stealth vape at their desk. As long as because it was kind of one of those. He came in and he said, the only way you can do this is if you're not blowing like big clouds, you're not bothering the person next to you. Do it stealthily. And it's been a little bit, and it's worked. But I could not believe the trek, and again, it's because of the agency. But I cannot believe the trek that they had to make to do this. And
I had to.
These are people that would have to go all day. Not being able to smoke because of that.
Yeah, no, I worked on a federal building, and it was a half a mile from the front door to the gate, and you had to go across the street. So, and I didn't drive at the time, so I had to, if I wanted, walk a half a mile through the desert, mind you, because this is Arizona. Half a mile to the gate, go across the street, quickly smoke 2 cigarettes really, really fast, and then hike my ass all the way back on my lunch break because there was no other time. It's dumb. It's ridiculous.
Yep.
And somebody said on here too, I saw like a card that they could get a percentage off. We don't do any retail sales ourselves. It's me. That's it. So I couldn't. I don't have the kind of infrastructure necessary, and we kind of weighed that. And realistically, for me to bring on that many people, it would be a lot of money that I wouldn't be able to turn around and donate to pay employees and to pay for all of the HR nonsense and taxes and everything to hire people to do retail sales. So until we get to the point where the infrastructure itself can be supported by our revenue, we don't do any kind of retail ourselves. So you would have to order it through one of our partners.
And I think that's awesome that you're actually, from the beginning, coming out and saying that, I'm not saying greedy, but not being like, yeah, let's do this, and then all of a sudden, all this money has to be spent on, the infrastructure below, and,
it's expensive.
Yeah.
Currently, every single person in Vapefest a volunteer, top to bottom, myself included. All of our board members, anybody that volunteers, nobody makes a penny. Vapefest has not and will not pay payroll unless the entire landscape of vaping changes to the point that it's nonsense. But for the foreseeable future, that will never happen. That's just the way it is. I collect a wage from BRV. It's significantly less than what you would think, but it's enough to be able to, put food on the table for my family and allow me to do what I do. So that's that. But we don't have any other employees because every person I hire is a little bit of money I'd have to take out. And as we grow, then I'll bring on more people and offer more jobs, and they will obviously go to veterans first, because that's what I want to do. We've got vets on our board. We've got we work with a lot of men and women in the service right now. So that's why all of our juice flavors are jokes, but they're all inside jokes.
Right. All kind of puns on the whole service thing, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Find coming in, he said he has a house full of kids, so that's understandable.
Yeah, he always has a house full of kids. Man,
what else we got? Let's see. Oh yeah, we already answered that one from L. Lou.
I think we answered both of those actually. Both questions. Other people involved directly. How many BNMs did you say carry right now?
If you go to brvliquids.com/locations, it has an entire, like, a cool little pinned Google map that shows you all of them. 30? Maybe less than that? 25? Something
I know
like that.
we get a lot of vendors who watch, so I'm going to throw out an open call to vendors and urge you guys to pick these guys up. Check it out, help out.
The juice is really good. And I don't say that just because, it's mine and I have to say it's really good. It sells extremely well. The retail price on it is amazing. It's $17.76 for a 30 ml bottle. Our wholesale price is really, really good. Our MOQ is very low. Our concept is we don't want a high bar to get in and be involved, so we really are able to cater to newer and smaller shops. So it's a very low cost of entry, but we find that nobody orders the minimum after the first time.
1776. I see what you did there.
Everything, top to bottom, it's themed that way.
To continue off on somebody's question earlier about how they can help, other than just spreading the word in general, if you guys have local shops, spread the word to your local shops. Tell them to at least get in touch with these guys, try it out, see if it's something that they're interested in carrying, because it really is. It's a fantastic cause, and I mean, you guys do a lot of work, and it's great.
Yeah, we do. I work like 80 hours a week on this. That's why I have to take a wage. If I didn't, I'd have to work full time. And I wouldn't be able to do nearly what I'm able to do. It'd be more like, well, I send stuff out in my free time, when I can, and it's kind of a hobby, and we wouldn't be able to help nearly the people we do. So the small amount that I'm able to pull from BRV to pay my bills, to pay my rent and keep power on and eat, allows me to be able to put all of my energy into this full time, to do outreach on base, to be able to travel to these conventions. We're going to be at VaporCon. We're going to be at VCC Northeast in Springfield, Massachusetts. We're going to be at Vape Mania in Winston-Salem, and we're going to be at Vaporoo in Manchester, Tennessee.
Vaporoo.
We'll have to catch up with you at Vape Mania, because we're all going to be there as well.
Perfect. Yeah, we're going to be hanging out here.
So we can get it on recording, because I know you answered it in chat. What do applicants get in a kit?
Yeah,
they get an Inokin Leo Pro. It's a 1,000 mAh Ego pass-through battery, charger, 5 iClear 16s, a 30 ml bottle of juice, a page of instructions, a page of shops that carry BRV, so they know where to get more juice if they want. So if there's a shop that has that is interested in being involved, your name will go out with every single kit that we send, and then a thank you letter explaining who we are, what we do, in a little bit of detail that I sign, some stickers, we have little plastic army men that go out in all of them, because we like to be goofy and fun like that. And that's it. That's what they get. Sometimes we'll send out more stickers. We try to send what we can. And it all goes in one of those little small flowery boxes, and we cram that shit full.
Flowery box?
Yeah. They barely fits. Those Inokin kits they're square. I have them over there, but it's far. I can cram that in the box, and then there's about this much space on one side, so I'll put a little bit of foam around a bottle, and I cram that in too. And then we shove the stickers in, and we shove the little the paperwork in there, and it's perfect because nothing moves because I have to really cram it in there.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely love what I do. I wouldn't be happy doing anything else. I've worked in the social work field for some time, and this was kind of a way for me to take a career that I'm really passionate about, that I really love, and kind of meld it with a hobby that I'm just as passionate about and that I love just as much. I do all of the advocacy here in Phoenix. I run all of the big vaping community group on Facebook here in Phoenix. I'm really, really involved with the vaping scene.
Dude, I'll tell you that running vape community shit's almost a full-time job by itself.
Moderating the community is a full-time goddamn
He's riding
job.
a high horse.
Oh my god,
Building.
dude.
Trust me, dude. In Maryland, I run the entire community page, meets everything. So I pretty much in charge of the vape community in my state. So
Yeah,
it's
dude,
a
it's
full-time
nuts.
job. Yep. Plus organizing charities and all that stuff. So.
Well, yeah, that's its own incredible thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Remind me to hit you up later too, because we'll do something for you guys here in Maryland.
Dude, we're always looking for partners to take part in it. However, we've really designed this as a way where anybody that wants to be involved can be involved, no matter whether you make your own juice or you sell different juice lines or you just sell hardware. Oh, speaking of hardware, we don't accept direct donations of juice or hardware, and I'll explain why. We tend to get random juice that we can't use. I have one company who sent me 2 large flat rate boxes full of 36 milligram juice, and it is still sitting on a shelf because I won't send it out. We will have vapors that'll be like, I've got this half full bottle of whatever. I want to donate this, and it's like, oh no, would you donate a half-eaten bagel? No, it's gross. It's like food to me. So we don't take direct donations of that kind of stuff.
I would take a half-eaten bagel.
Well, I'm Jewish, so it's kind of, hey, I'd save a buck. But what we will do with it, we won't take it for the kits, but we build these care packages that we send out, and we'll pick a different base. If there's a group of people deploying from a specific base, they get priority. But we'll pick different bases, and we will send them boxes full of mods and batteries and juice and swag and all of that kind of stuff to, just to make sure that they don't, or at least can go a good portion of the time without having to order and have it shipped overseas, because there are a lot of vendors that will not ship to an APO, which, by the way, ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I've seen the same thing, posted on vendor sites before. I'm like, it's just an address.
Yeah. You do have to fill out a customs form for it?
Yeah.
Nobody cares what you put on it.
Really? Is that right?
Well, yeah, more or less.
Sure. Whatever I just said.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, I mean, but you don't have to get terribly descriptive. Batteries and juice, batteries and flavored liquids, batteries and flavored personal lubricant. That is the best. Ship that to a base overseas. Yeah.
Yeah. So on that same note, I want to know what you use in your hair. What sort of product it goes on in that?
What?
I was wondering the same thing.
It's just growing out.
Are you a Dapper Dan man? Damn it.
No. I usually shave it.
The way the light was hitting your hair, I thought you had some pomade in there.
Oh,
What the hell's going on?
It's probably just I need to take a shower.
Fair enough.
It's really hot here in Phoenix. So
No shit.
yeah.
I've been. It is. I'm not one that that has skin issues really, but when I went out there for like a week for a buddy's wedding, my whole lips just like started bleeding. It was just like need moisture in the air. But
I can't vape 50/50 juice. I have to vape higher VG. I don't have any problem
Because
with
you're a
it, like,
man.
but it's so dry here
yeah.
that if I start vaping anything with more PG in it, my lips will crack and bleed
Mm-hmm.
because of how, like, there's no moisture anywhere except for, like, on me when I'm sweating my balls off. It's 115 degrees outside.
You should be vaping Max VG anyway.
Right.
So,
Well, Max VG doesn't have any flavor. It's boring.
I got one last question for you. If somebody fills out the application and you guys go through that whole thing, what's the general turnaround time on getting a kit to that person?
We like to guesstimate at 2 to 3 weeks. Sometimes it's faster. A lot of times it's slower. The reason being is I have to order them wholesale, and I order them direct from Anokin, and I have to order 50 of them at a time, and it's nearly $1,000. And then it's almost $6 per kit to ship them. So once I've dropped $1,000 on kits, then I have to order the juice. And what we do is we process all the applications, we decide what juice we're going to send each person. Because on that application, there's a whole questionnaire about flavor profile and how much they smoke and what they smoke. And we kind of try to tailor what we're sending to each individual person. Once I have that spreadsheet, I order, 50 bottles of juice, and there's another, there's a bunch of money. That gets shipped up to me, and then it's another $300 to ship them all out. So, it costs me about $1,600 to $1,700 to about twice a month.
Per batch.
Yeah, per batch. And I do about 2 runs a month, so that's why we say 2 weeks.
I like that level of transparency that you have in all this too. That's very commendable.
I can actually tell you the name, rank, base, time and service, the kit they got, the color of the kit they got, exactly when it was shipped, every single stop on that, and what juice they got for every single kit we've ever sent out.
Sure. And you probably have to have some of that stuff being a nonprofit, right? I mean,
I get audited every year.
Yeah,
so,
sure.
We keep records. We have this. Colin actually did all of his work because he's my IT. He calls himself Guru. I call him Minion. But he built our entire CRM database, and it's cool. It stores all of their applications. It stores a copy of the LES or a copy of their DD214 that we require for proof of service. And every person is tagged with their application, their personal information, their tracking information, what we sent them, when we sent it to them, and all of that. So, when we get audited, they can go through all my files and say, okay,
sure.
All of our books, all of that. I have an accountant that does that all for me because nonprofit accounting is kind of a pain.
Fair.
Accounting is kind of a pain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also just appreciate the transparency that you're giving us here tonight in that whole process. That's not something that you find a lot, especially with nonprofits, right? So it's appreciated.
Well, I learned. I went through and I saw how it's all done from years of being in the nonprofit industry. How to do it. So what we wanted to do is, okay, and this was kind of I said somebody was kind of doing this before, and we talk about this, but somebody was trying to do something similar to what we're doing, and then just ended up ripping everybody off, and it was a huge scam. So one of the big major things that I wanted to do coming into this a year ago was making sure that everything was transparent, making sure that there's not a single person on this earth that can claim that I'm not doing exactly what I say I'm doing, because I do what I say, and it's really, really simple, and we want everybody to know that, because if people think that there's something shady going on, then they don't want to get involved, and that only hurts the people that we're trying to help.
Agreed.
So,
right.
and that's what's really important to me.
So I think we're going to take a cut break and do tech time here for a minute and give everybody in chat a chance to ask any further questions that they have for you.
Yep, and this is going to be a nice, quick, and dirty tech time. I had a question that came up a few times that I wanted to answer really quickly, and I figured since we want some more questions to come in, this will be a nice, 5-minute small segment. So let's go ahead and let's see. Let me make sure I have. I had a question. I'm pulling up the question, see if I can find it here. I had a question about how to secure a whether it's a switch or a anything inside of an aluminum enclosure. And the reason for that is a lot of people are using either epoxy or double-sided tape or anything like that. Well, what starts happening with the inside of the enclosure, let's say for example if you have something that you want to put in there and you want to be able to remove in case something happens to it. So for example, I have this charging board. It's a 1 amp charging board. It doesn't have the USB connector on it because this is one that I actually pulled out of a mod that I was able to remove because it wasn't epoxied in, and it was in a mod that had an aluminum enclosure. And a lot of people, find out that I use on certain things I use hot glue to put some parts in that are replaceable, and hot glue, that doesn't stick to aluminum. What are you talking about? Well, you have to prep the aluminum just like with everything else. So what I wanted to before we get started, I just wanted to go ahead and play this.
And now Tech Time with Mask Blast 09.
Awesome. So I forgot about that before starting up. But anyways, one of the things you want to do is you want to prep the aluminum. Here's just the bare looking aluminum down there. If you're using aluminum, get this thing to focus here. If you're using a plastic, like a project box or anything like that, you're not going to have an issue with. Come on, focus. You're not going to have an issue, as you can see, there's just the bare aluminum down there on the bottom. You're not going to have an issue with adhesion, but you should always rough up the surface. So what I did here was I started to, I just took a normal, I see what it's doing. As soon as I go off frame, it goes off. Come on. Focus. So light's the issue here too. Okay, I started to down here on the bottom. I started to score the aluminum. Okay, and I just went one direction with just a file, and now I'm going to go in the other direction. And I'm doing this as we're okay. So I'm going to basically make a grid pattern. And you can do this on plastic. It'll take you 2 seconds. You can do it with a Dremel, and the Dremel will look like that. Okay, and just rough it up a little bit. So you give, whether you're using the epoxy or I'm not sure about two-sided tape. I've never used that, or the hot glue, a chance to grab onto the aluminum. And again, I wouldn't use the hot glue for parts that are going to be like a 510 or something like that. They're going to create heat. Even the charge boards, they do get pretty warm, but the hot glue is basically just there for placement. There's other things that are holding it in place. For example, on something like this, it slides right in, these two areas where the screws go in, and it can't go any further back. So it's kind of just like a placeholder. So just real quick, we'll show you. This is the hot glue gun that I use. It's just a cheapo hot glue. It uses the regular size.
And you're going to be filling that box with hot glue, correct?
Oh, I'm gonna fill it all the way up. But so one of the things you want to, if you're working on plastic, no problem. Make sure the plastic is thick enough. The hot glue is going to be pretty warm. I don't know the exact temperature, but it's warm. So what'll happen with the aluminum box is just like if you've started building your mod and you tried to solder something directly to the aluminum, like a ground wire or something like that, it's going to be near impossible to do because the aluminum is going to, in layman's terms, suck up so much of that heat that both surfaces are not going to come anywhere near to the temperature to be able to solder. That's going to happen. That's going to happen with the hot glue also. Okay, so instead of, let's say we were going to put this part down here. Obviously, there is no chips or surface mount devices on the other side of the board. Okay, something you want to be mindful of is if you're going to put this in, just lay the hot glue down and then place it down. There's no need to fill it with hot glue above it. Okay, let's say you had an LED light like this one has down here on the bottom, and you wanted to show that LED light. If you're using clear hot glue sticks like I'm using, you can actually, let's say the LEDs were there, you can drill a hole on the side of your case and bring 2 dabs of hot glue over to the holes, and they will act like a small fiber optic cable and bring the LED light out to the holes. So that's a nice little trick you can do if your board has LEDs that you want to be able to see. And again, we'll just place a little bit of hot glue in here and sandwich it down, and it's gonna set really quick because the aluminum is going to absorb all that heat. So let's see if I can do this on camera. Actually, I'll grab my stand. Put this up so we can do it in kind of like an angle. Again, this is a pan of ice. Helps a lot to hold on to stuff while you're working. All right, so here comes the glue. There's the board. And that quick. That's how quickly you have to do this because that hot glue is going to set on you very quickly. Now, let's say you had your USB connector here for your micro or mini USB. If you have something that has a lid on it and you already have it cut out, perfect. If you're mounting it to that lid, okay, you're going to want to, a trick that I always tell people to do is take your connector. Now, this isn't the actual connector for this board, but if it was, put your lid, take your connector, put your connector in, attach your board to it, okay, leave your connector in, and then place the hot glue around the board while this connector is in there. What that'll do is it'll prevent any of the hot glue from seeping in the connector, because if it gets in there, good luck getting it out. I mean, you know, there's very small holes that the connector has that hot glue can get into, and if you have this in it, there's no way for it to reach. As soon as you unplug this and if you try to fill it, if you get any hot glue around it, this is a safe way to keep that. And again, that's if you're using a lid and you're putting the connector through, so the board kind of ends up like this. And I mean, here's the final. I mean, I'm pushing on this really good to try to get it to come apart, and just to show that you can pull it apart after it's been in there. We'll see how hard it is in here to get it out. Usually, if you're prying across an area, be careful, be mindful of what you're pushing up and down on. I usually will score along the edge. You could take something like your knife or a blade, and you can score along the edge to try to break that glue. You can see some of the glue there. Okay. And now you've broken it loose. And as you can see, there isn't any on here because a lot of it, but you can tell that it grabbed onto some of the aluminum. It was on there, but I started breaking it across. And let's say you have your board, you can usually very carefully peel it off. Okay. See, we took a piece of the covering of the board there, and that was because there was some flux, and this board has been reused a couple times. So, and that's something you want to be careful with. If something like that happens, you're gonna have to replace the board. But usually, like I said, this had a scratch on it, and it was very hot. Usually, you can get the glue off of them very easily. So, there you go. That's a question that I had about mounting stuff with hot glue. Just prep the area and be ready to set it as quickly as you can because the hot glue will set very fast.
I got something for you, Maz.
Yep.
While you're setting back up, Wolf Tech from the IRC chat said, Maz, when are the SX350s with the up-down button capabilities expected to be coming out?
Okay, so the guy that I got my chip through, his name is Perry, and he has he's one of the main. Let me get my camera up and going here. He's one of the main vendors here in the U.S. And he's over. He has his own website. It's called varitube.com. That's VARITUBE.com, and he has the chips on sale on his site right now. And when I spoke with him, he says that they're working on that right now. There isn't an actual date, but we were discussing some stuff today when I spoke with him, and there's 4 open pads on the board, and I can show you that right now where they are. Let me pull this up here, and if someone can put the site on the chat so people can get to it.
Sure.
Let's see if I can pull it up on the board. Let's see. Okay, see those 4 pads up here at the top?
Mm-hmm.
There's 4 open pads right there that connect to certain things within the board. Now, this is all speculation on where they're going to be on the board or what they're going to do to get the button working, but there's no set date on that. And I know that is something that they've been asked about constantly, and they're working on it, which I think is pretty cool. That to take a board that was designed to be used with the accelerometer and then all of a sudden add buttons to it, redoing software and all that stuff, and then being able to upgrade it. It's going to be really cool if you can do it with this board. I don't know if there's going to be something involved where you have to get a different board. I doubt it, but that is something that they're working on, and I don't have a date. You can shoot Perry an email over at Veritube and see if he puts you on a list or something like that to let you know. But I will say this: the customer service from talking about the SX board, the customer service from them when you're going through a dealer like somebody like Perry, I'll give you an example of how amazing this is. I don't know what the time overseas in Asia was at the time when I asked him this, but I had an issue with one of the boards, and it ended up being a USB port issue where I flashed it to the 35 watts, and the board wasn't coming on after. And I said, let's try flashing it back down to 30, which I didn't know if it was possible. I didn't have the software. So I said, hey, do you have the software? And he said, I'm not sure. I'm out and about. Let me contact my my rep over at Yeehee, and we'll see what they say. I'm expecting 1-2 days return, whatever. Like 20 minutes later, he sends me back a file with the original ROM for the chip, and that allowed me to flash it back down to 30, and was able to deal with the issue. But that was pretty awesome. So they're definitely standing behind their chip, and there's rumors about Sigeli coming out with the 35 watt version in one of their devices. But, I'm not sure. But something that I did order that's for one of the users here at our local was a 3D printed lid. It's got the button up top, USB port on the bottom, and this is Guy Batmods, BAP. He's usually drawing these up and puts them up on Shapeways, and it's really cool. I mean, it's a direct drop in. You basically just drop your board in. There's your screen. It still has the sticker on it, and it drops right in. I mean, super easy. And this is for a G box, so this will allow you to put your SX350 in a G box, and you could have him, button placement in all different locations. If you don't want to put it there, you could put it on the actual box. But it's pretty. I'll say this: mounting this is 100 times easier than mounting the DNA board. And the reason I say that is in this package where it's straight up and down, the screen's already glued to the board itself. Okay, so you don't have to be doing any bending. There's no, that ribbon cable is very, you have to be very careful with it because it's very thin. And I've seen a lot of people crack them. I've seen a lot of people rip them as they're bending them. If you're doing the configuration where you bend the screen under the DNA and place it to keep that footprint small. Some people will use the side of an A box and they'll put the DNA chip down below with the screen above. And that's fine, but even then you still want some kind of cradle or something to hold that glass screen. So something like this already, you have something 3D printed. Literally you just drop the board in, wire everything up, which is the USB is already wired in on the new ones, so you just add power, the positive for your 510, and you run a negative to the 510, and you're done. I mean, it even comes with a button. And, you can change this. So I'm going to cut this off, and I'm going to wire it to the button that I have there. But I think that makes it even easier for people who are building stuff, not to worry about screen placement and the hole that the screen is going to be cut in. And, can you pay $10, buy a Hammond box, go to your garage and, cut a big old jankified hole in it and try to place a DNA screen and be cheaper than a 3D printer screen? Sure. If you want a metal screen or you want a metal lid for the box, sure, you go with something like that. But for a mod that for $20-$30 for a 3D printed screen, that's it's going to fit, no problem. I think it's worth it.
So I had a chance to try one of those SX chips, and I forgot to mention this, and I preface this by saying I probably used the thing for about 15 minutes. I used one of the Sigelli 20 watts, and I used it right next to one of my DNA mods. And I was taking my Addy, same wattage from the DNA mod to the SX board. And Mass, I don't know if you've had the same experience in playing with these things, but they seem to be more consistent. The SX boards, from what I have experienced with them, I think are better than the DNA boards.
Yeah, I'll say this. I think. I mean, I haven't seen a side-by-side on the oscilloscope of the DNA and the SX board, but that's going to show you just one piece of the whole puzzle. Okay, it's going to show you the output and how clean it is. But seat of your pants, I'd agree. I think the SX board is, I'm not going to say necessarily more powerful at, let's say, 20 watts than a DNA device, but the how clean it vapes, I think, is better.
I agree. I do hate that fucking tilt to turn up and down. I think that's terrible. Yeah. But I think the board, as far as a vape experience, not by a lot, but it was better.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've heard that from numerous people. The boards are just starting to get over here to the U.S. and get out, and mod builders are starting to build with them. Perry was showing me a one that a guy did, and it's on ECF somewhere, and it was a wood. basically, when I saw the pictures that he showed me, I said, that is the Wapari of the SX, 350 chip. Because it was this beautiful wood with metal inlay. This guy had that the cap on the top basically was held down by the addy. So when you screwed down the addy, it pretty much held the top, and the springs and everything was all loaded. So there weren't any screws, there weren't any latches, none of that stuff. And he had created this 510 that allowed it to.
You're making understudy sweat right now.
And basically it was a beautiful mod. I mean, there was no outside latches, screws, anything slid. It was really cool. It was about the size of a flask, fit in your hand, and it had the nice cutout for the screen. So I really think that the ability of being able to just drop this into a device is maybe pushing more people over towards it. I know that first thing that's going to come out when people hear this, and I'm not paying attention to chat, but they're going to say price. This board is more than yeah, it is more than the DNA, but you're
until you buy 50 of them, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, and I think there's different. I'm not sure what pricing he has, but I think that sure, you can get a DNA board for cheaper if you're buying 50 or 100, a modders pack or whatever it is, but it's brand new, and it just came out, so of course it's going to be a little bit higher, but it is a 35 watt board, and who knows what else they're going to allow the board to do. I mean, I think it's going to be insane if and when they come out with adding the buttons and using those ports on the board to add buttons to it.
Mm-hmm. I think just that it's an upgradable board is kind of a big deal, right? Because you only got to buy one board.
Correct.
But I will say,
people said,
Brian, you're right. He got me all like hot and bothered and shit.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think one of the modders we were talking to, I'm pretty sure he said that their minimum order is 50, and he said when you hit 50, it drops down to like $36 or something.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It's super inexpensive once you buy that MOQ. But you're right, straight retail for one chip, it's more expensive. But
yeah, and I mean it is a 35 watt board out of the box. It's already pre-wired, so all you got to do is add power to it and hook up your 510. So that saves, if you're doing one, no big deal. But if you're doing 10, 15 of them, that saves a lot of time, not having to solder 4 wires. So, I think we'll see it more and more. And what they have in the future for the rest of the boards, it's going to be. I'm just happy to see an actual drawn up, not clone. People see anything come out of Asia and it's a clone automatically. Legit board that someone spent time and designed and threw up and tried to shape close to the same size. I mean, you look at what we still have. A lot of people still use Vamos. Look at the Vamo board.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And this isn't old technology. I mean, this has been out. This is one of the latest ones.
Yeah.
So they look the same, but design has changed a little bit. It's 2 boards sandwiched together versus what the SX board now offers.
Right.
I mean, you have a big difference in the size of the buttons, the screen. Using an OLED display, and something important that. Just to remind anyone if they're thinking about getting one, is the board does not, in its current configuration, does not have reverse polarity protection. Current configuration meaning how it comes from the factory with the wires soldered in place like this. Your negative and your positive. Let's say you want reverse polarity protection, no problem. You desolder your negative wire from here, and you solder it to this port right here. And it gives you polarity protection. Now, when I was talking to him about it, I said, well, that makes sense because this would be a port used for tube mods, where it makes contact with the casing of the tube mod,
mm-hmm.
and the positive pin would be down here with a pin that looks like that. Okay, so that makes sense that they would have something something like that set up. So if you want reverse polarity protection, because it's obviously the reason that they did that is a lot of these are going to go into box mods. Box mods already have, a way that the batteries are going to go in that it's going to be sealed because you're going to be charging it via the USB port, so you're not going to be in there swapping your batteries out. So if you want the reverse polarity protection, you can use that port there. That's a negative port. So it's just.
And what's our best topic for next week for our hostful episode? While ignoring Will, conveniently.
Oh yeah, right. Wait, I like my DNA.
I'm on a show. I
Is
forgot.
the stupid button. I'm so mad at this button. It
What's
locks
wrong?
itself constantly.
Well, you gotta hit up Josh.
Bam!
Oh.
Deal with it.
Wow.
You gotta hit up Josh, man. He'll fix it. I'm sure.
That deserves a.
Shots fired.
Yeah, and Will, that is that's a common issue with a lot of the switches that I don't know, how long have you had that mod for?
6 months?
Yeah.
8 months?
So a lot of the earlier switches that were coming out were just not up to par with how many times we're clicking them and doing all that, and that's I guarantee you get a hold of Josh and that's an easy fix, swap in and out, no problem.
But it's like glued in there.
Oh no, dude, he can fix it. Trust me.
Yeah.
Josh? Oh, okay. So I'm going to be, I guess, coming down to Tucson, handing you my box mod, and going, hey, I'm going to need you to fix this. And I'm going to need you to do it while I wait because I love it. And everything else is so delayed. I mean, I have one of the D's Nuts Altoid tins on its way. I have a Serenity box mod on its way. I have a Geppetto Elite on its way, and I have a custom DNA 30 Vapefest box mod, the only one in existence being made for me.
Did you say it's a Geppetto?
On its way. I have a Geppetto Elite.
Geppetto, huh? Hashtag white people. Geppetto.
So,
Geppetto.
What is it like?
I
Geppetto?
want to take a second as we wind down, Will, and thank you for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And
Especially
outside of
live.
just coming on, dude, I appreciate everything that you're doing because it's phenomenal stuff, man. It really is.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
You know what? It's a labor of love. It's something I really, really enjoy doing. I really wanted to help and do something for individuals that absolutely deserve it more than anybody else. If there was one population that I could help, that was the one. One of the neat things, and I haven't heard about this for a while, but Father Patrick in LA actually modeled a similar program with individuals who are homeless and in recovery after the Vapefest project. So he's doing something very similar down there, and he wrote us a really, really nice letter and said, hey, I really love what you're doing, and I wanted to do something like it for the population that we serve out of our church. So it was cool to hear that.
That's really cool.
And for everybody watching, next week, no guests, just the four of us. Ask questions throughout the week. Let us know what you want to talk about. If there's anything you want us to cover, it's the perfect time because we won't really have a formula.
You just need a guest. I mean, I'll come on any time, but you won't get me to shut up.
Every 5 episodes, man, it's just us.
Yep, we do that. On purpose. That way we can address what people, instead of like what we want to talk to, our guests about. We want the community to come back and say, hey, let's talk about this. I've got a question about this. How do I do this thing? It's worked so far. We like it.
Absolutely.
But again, Will, thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Anytime. I'm happy to. I always love talking about what we're doing.
Everybody, thanks for joining us in the chat.
Word up, y'all. No host next week. Deal with it.
Have a good night, everybody.
Later on.
Peace.
Yep.
Come on.